Welcome or welcome back to Believing Thomas. My name is Maeve and I'm so happy that you're here. I make videos exploring topics related to faith, doubt, and human design, so if any of that interests you, then you're in the right place. Today we're exploring the question, is faith blind? This is a comment that I think is so important. I've seen it come up a couple of times in the comment section as well. This is not meant to be an exhaustive deep dive into this topic, more of an introduction and to set the foundation to be fleshed out more later on. I'm really excited to get into this topic, so let's jump right in. In the last video, we talked a bit about how soul searching can feel like a soul shaking overhaul of the most foundational aspects of our lives. How we view ourselves, how we view the people and world around us, our hopes and fears, the future, how we make decisions, and so much more. And that's what I want to start with today. The foundations of how we understand and interact with the world within us and around us. Our worldview. Worldviews are the lenses through which we look in order to make sense of the world we live in. It is the attempt to look at all the information and puzzle pieces that life gives us and piece together a cohesive picture. It is looking at all of the diversity in the world and trying to find unity within it. Worldviews are often shaped and impacted by our culture, our experiences, the people around us, and a lot of things. Every person has a different worldview to some degree, and everybody has a lens through which they perceive, understand, and interact with the world. When it comes to these lenses, there are at least 5 foundational, really consequential questions that all worldviews attempt to answer in some way or other in order to make sense of the world, whether the person that holds to that worldview is fully aware of it or not. So let's jump into these 5 questions. Number 1. Every worldview answers the question of origin. Where did we as humans come from? Is our origin found within macroevolution, where we came from apes and from more simple forms of life before that? Did we come from a creator? Is it some mix of the two or something else? Every worldview holds assumptions or beliefs about where we as humans come from. Number 2, every worldview answers the question of identity. Who are we? Are we purely material beings or are we spiritual beings as well? Do souls exist? Are we ultimately defined by our own self-perception and self-definition, or are we ultimately defined by something outside of us? Number 3, every worldview answers the question of meaning. Why are we here? Does life have a purpose, a meaning, both in general and for our specific lives? Is life ultimately meaningless? Can it be known? Do we make our own meaning, or is meaning something more concrete that we reach for? Number 4, every worldview answers the question of morality. How should we live? Is morality objective or subjective? Where does morality spring from? How should we go about making decisions, and what decisions are good or bad, or right or wrong? And how good or bad are they? How right or wrong are they? Is morality something concrete or more flexible or a bit of both? Who defines it? And number 5, every worldview answers the question of destiny. Where are we going? Is this life all there is, or is there something more? Is there reincarnation? Is there a literal heaven and hell, or something else? Are humans on the path of progressing and betterment, or are we on the path of ruin? Are we getting worse? Each of our worldview's answers to these questions has countless ripple effects throughout each of our lives. These ripple effects are the way that we see ourselves, the decisions that we make, and why we make them, the way that we view and interact with the people around us. And in fact, there's no part of our lives that our worldview doesn't touch. These ripple effects are each of our lived lives, ultimately. These questions don't operate as islands either. Our understanding of our origin impacts our understanding of our identity, which impacts our beliefs about our purpose, which impacts our beliefs about morality, and so on. And as we look at each of these 5 questions here, it must be noted that the answers to each hinges on the existence or non-existence of God, or gods, or a spiritual force, or whatnot. If there is a God, then our origin, identity, meaning, morality, and destiny are all ultimately rooted in, defined by, fueled by this God. And if there is no God, then the truth in these questions will flow from that. All worldviews inherently have some sort of religious viewpoint. Whether you're a Christian, atheist, Muslim, agnostic, or anything else, all worldviews make truth claims about God. Whether he does or does not exist, whether it can or cannot be known, if and how he interacts with the world, his impact on morality and on our lives, and more. Because truth claims are inherent to all religious viewpoints, including atheism and agnosticism, there is often investigation that can be done in order to evaluate the viability of each of these truth claims, such as historical and scientific investigation, not to mention philosophical exploration of each of these things. The idea that religion is rooted in a blindfolded and hopeful wishing, while the lack of religion is rooted solely in logic and reason, really isn't grounded. Truth claims about God and religion are inherent to all worldviews, and I would argue that faith is also inherent to each and every religious worldview, including atheism and agnosticism. Because we're operating within the metaphysical realm when we're dealing with these huge foundational questions of life, and because of our limited knowledge and perspectives as human beings, we are always operating within the realm of probability. And I want to be clear about that. My viewpoint could be wrong. Now, while I don't think it is at its core, that's why I hold to the viewpoint, it would be intellectually dishonest and emotionally fueled for me to say otherwise and claim some sort of metaphysical certainty. So, yes, I could be wrong, but so could you. And I hope that you can hear my heart in saying that. My aim is not to be rude or condescending or anything like that. Each one of us has religious beliefs, and there are no neutral positions when it comes to those religious beliefs, including for atheism and agnosticism. To quote Philip Johnson, one who claims to be a skeptic of a certain set of beliefs is actually a true believer in another set of beliefs. For example, atheists who reject Christianity are true believers in atheism as being the most true and comprehensive picture of life. Agnostics, likewise, are believers in agnosticism being the best explanation of the puzzle pieces in front of them. Every one of us are believers in something. Every one of us makes truth claims. Every one of us has limited knowledge and gaps to fill when it comes to our worldviews that hinge on the answers to these huge metaphysical questions. Every one of us has faith. Now, I think that historical Christianity actually requires the least amount of faith compared to any other viewpoint. I think it makes the most sense of the information that we have and of the life that we find ourselves in. In future videos, my aim is to explore and defend this claim because I think that the evidence, whether historical, scientific, philosophical, or experiential, I think it points to Christ. In my last video, I quoted Carl Jung where he said that enlightenment does not come by imagining figures of light, embracing ideas because they suit our wishes, inclinations, and comfort. The goal is reality. What is the reality of this life that we live? In an upcoming video, I'll be diving deeper into this topic of truth. Namely, is truth objective, subjective, or something in between? And I hope that you'll stick around to watch it because I'd love to hear what you think. If you have made it to the end of this video, you seriously rock, and I so appreciate you. Please feel free to leave me your thoughts down below. As always, I love reading them. It's always an honor when people share their minds, their hearts, their stories, their questions, and I love hearing from you. I'd love if you considered giving the video a like, sharing it, subscribing. I'll see you in the next episode. Much love.